Muy buenas noches, amigos de Enfocados. Mi nombre es Rubén Peralta y en esta semana tenemos una continuidad de una entrevista de una película que hice la semana pasada, y una nueva película que estrenó Amazon hace unas semanas y que posiblemente la veamos en los próximos premios. Les voy a presentar la entrevista. Vamos a hablar un poco de la película, les voy a presentar el tráiler y les voy a presentar también el nuevo tráiler de la nueva película de Avatar, la cual tuve la oportunidad de ver, pero todavía no puedo comentar nada. Las dos conversaciones que tuve esta semana, una es con el director de Glass Onion. Recuerden que la semana pasada tuve la oportunidad de conversar con Janelle Monáe acerca de la misma película, pero en esta ocasión hablé con el director de cosas más específicas y más técnicas que como director maneja. También tuve la oportunidad de conversar con otro director más conocido que se llama Ron Howard. Ron Howard es un gran director. Le voy a abundar un poquito más adelante acerca de él. Pero tiene una nueva película que se llama 13 vidas o 13 Lives, que se estrenó hace unas semanas en Amazon y que está pujándose mucho para los premios. Ambos directores con sus ambos proyectos están siendo muy mercadeados para ser candidatos a los premios que vienen a continuación, que son el Globo de Oro, el SAG, el Oscar, todo eso que ya viene para principios del año que viene. Vamos a presentar el contenido del programa y vamos a conversar acerca de cada uno de estos proyectos detalladamente. La primera entrevista que le quiero presentar es la que tuve con el director Rian Johnson. Rian Johnson es director de esta secuela de aquella primera película que se llama Knives Out. Él está creando un universo alrededor del personaje principal que hace Daniel Craig. En esta ocasión vemos como este millonario, que es Edward Norton, invita a unos amigos a una isla privada que él tiene para descubrir un homicidio. No sabemos quién que se va a morir, porque yo no se lo voy a decir, voy a esperar que ustedes vean la película. Para hacer un poquito de recuento de Rian Johnson, Rian es un director que empezó con una película que se llama Brick hace muchos años, o Ladrillo. Luego hizo Looper, que es una muy buena película con Bruce Willis, y luego hizo una película de Star Wars que es el episodio 8. Pero este joven director tiene muy buenas ideas y tiene una forma muy diferente de escribir. Aquí les dejo mi conversación con el director Rian Johnson.
Hey, Ruben.
How are you? How
Good.
are you, Ryan?
Yeah, very good. How are you doing?
Man, I'm fantastic. I after now, I have to rewatch your film last night, and after watching it again, uh, what was the decision that when you were writing the script that you decided to make a comedy, and the first one you made this thriller with some hints of comedy, but this
Yeah.
one I will say it's your first comedy.
I'll take it. I'll take that. Yeah, I mean, the tone of this one, first of all, I guess what's exciting to me about making this series is the idea that every single one can be a very different movie. And so the third one, for example, may be completely different from this. And that's very thrilling to me. So with this movie, the second I knew it was about a tech billionaire and these kind of influencer people, automatically it became more comedic and the tone got elevated up. And it was like, okay, these are big, terrible things. We're going to have to laugh a lot more. So, and I love that element of humor in these movies, and the idea of playing into that even more with this one seemed very appropriate.
When you have a crew like that with so many names, so many different styles of acting, how do you, as a director, you sit down and you write a character for each of them and then create this amazing chemistry that we can see in screen, and like everything functions perfectly?
Yeah, well, thank you. It starts with the writing, and when I'm writing, I don't think about actors. I don't think about specific actors. I just write the characters as part of the story, so that then when I bring the actors in, hopefully the script makes sense tonally, and each of the characters plays their role, and the actors can find their way into it. And honestly, also, I got very, very lucky with this group of actors because every single one of them is a movie star. Every single one of them has led their own films, but they all showed up for this ready to be an ensemble. And they all supported each other and clicked together as a true ensemble cast. And they all clicked into the same mode, I think. So it made it very easy for me on set because everyone was playing at the same tonal level and they all got it very, very quick.
In this type of movies, the coolest thing is always this inspector, the
Yeah.
guy who figured it out. And you have Daniel Craig, you have James Bond, and we see him in a different role, even aside from James Bond.
Yeah.
And of course, he's the lead in the investigation. How was that conversation with him to create a different tone than the first one? Because he has like this key point that he's the one who stimulates to the others to create something different.
Completely, yeah. And it's funny, we didn't like it. It again, it all came from the script. The first thing I do is I hand Daniel the script, he reads it, and then we start talking. And so I think based on the needs of this story and based on Blanc's role in this story, he's coming into it, and we as the audience are coming and meeting all these people through Blanc's eyes. So it's more through his perspective, this movie. But based on what he had to do in it, I think he just kind of found a tone that made sense for it. And the other thing is, I think all the other actors on set very much looked to Daniel to set that tone. So once he and I dialed Blanc into the right place, everybody else kind of attached to that. And that's kind of where our tone ended up being.
One other character that rarely people speak about it is the craft. The whole house is a character in the movie.
Yeah.
Do you have this idea before you wrote the script, or everything was built up while writing the script?
Yeah, I mean, very much the setting is a character, and for me, that's if I think about like And Then There Were None, the Agatha Christie book, or Evil Under the Sun. I mean, any of these location, or The Boat in Death on the Nile, any of these location mysteries where the whole thing takes place in kind of one location, the location is so important. I had a wonderful production designer, Rick Heinrich, who I had worked with on my Star Wars movie. And Rick is very good at doing character-based design on a very grand scale. So he was able to get inside Miles Braun, Edward Norton's character's head, and create this horrible, garish Fantasyland compound and for the movie to exist in.
I'm glad you brought the Star Wars movie because I was one of your defenders. I'm a Star Wars huge fan, and I defended you with claws and teeth. Like it was, yeah. I love your film.
Thank you.
But thank you thank you for your time. I really enjoyed the film, and I'm waiting for the third one.
Thanks so much, Ruben. I appreciate it.
Have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.
You too, man. Take care.
How are you, Janelle?
I'm incredible. Good to see you. Thank you for talking to me today.
I love your glasses.
Thank you.
I'm a huge fan of your music, and it's really nice to see you now as a great actress. How is this process? Is it just like a formal process, or is it just more like intuition for you as an artist?
Well, I consider myself a storyteller. I think storytelling is a tree, right? And then sometimes in music, you have a song that you want to tell, or a story you want to tell, be a song or be a performance on stage. And I think, and that goes over to acting, and you got a story with film and literature. I just also released a book this year, plug for the Memory Librarian. And you do that through fashion. And I just feel so humbled and so thankful and fortunate to be able to find the time, to find the right projects, and find the right stories to tell.
I was watching the movie, and a lot of things happen, and I feel that there's different energy from your character, and more towards the end. How was this conversation with the director to create these different energies in your character in the same story? Because to me, that's fascinating.
Well, I'll say Rian Johnson, writer director of Glass Onion, is just brilliant in my mind. The way his mind works is so just mind-boggling for me. Like I pull him to the side all the time. I'm like, do you work backwards? It's so much to manage, right? And then on top of that, him writing each character to be so layered and so mysterious, and my character in particular, just this character is a dream role for me. She's mysterious. As an actor, I get to play with comedy, I get to play with drama, I get to play with action, everything in between. And it was so many layers to just peel back from her. And that's where I started. I started with energy. I started with her spirit. I started with, okay, who is the essence of Andy? What is she after? Um, yeah.
Did he allow you to play with the character? Like after you read the script, did he allow you to add something to Andy and to like make some recommendation to bring something new to this character already written?
It was all on the page for me. What he had written, I saw, I knew, I was like, I see her. But Rian Johnson is the ultimate collaborator. So he absolutely asked me what I thought. Let's talk it through together. You're here because I want to know. I want to know your thoughts. I want your opinions. I want you to own this character.
Well, Janelle, thank you so much. I really enjoyed the movie. I watched the film in a big screen, and I know it's hard to talk about without spoilers, but I'm sure
I
the
know.
audience is going to enjoy it as much as I did.
Oh, thank you
And
so
thank you so
much, my
much for
friend.
your
We
time.
appreciate your support.
Y aquí estamos de vuelta con la segunda entrevista. En aquella primera entrevista, como pudieron ver, Rian habla mucho de cosas técnicas y de cómo crea personajes. Ahora tuve la oportunidad de conversar con Ron Howard. Ron Howard es un director que ha ganado Oscar. Tiene como 2 Oscars y tiene una carrera increíble, desde Beautiful Mind, Apolo 11. Son muchas películas que Ron Howard ha dirigido y ha sido parte muy importante de lo que es Hollywood y de la formación en términos comercialmente de lo que es Hollywood. En esta ocasión, él filma una película basada en un hecho real en Tailandia, donde 13 niños se quedaron atrapados en una cueva. Si buscan una noticia, se van a dar cuenta que fue algo real, de la forma que pudieron sacar estos niños. Él se une con Colin Farrell y Viggo Mortensen como los actores principales para recrear esta película o esta historia en forma de ficción, y lo hace de una manera muy bien. Es una película que funciona, es una película que va a agradar mucho al público. Con Ron tuvimos la conversación acerca de los procesos técnicos de crear cosas, de crear situaciones de secuencias por debajo del agua, de cómo fue el entrenamiento de los actores, cómo fue esa conversación para decirle a los actores lo que tenían que hacer, dado que requerían de mucho de su fisicalidad para crear todo este entorno. Aquí les dejo mi conversación con el director que ha ganado ya premios Oscar, Ron Howard.
Hi, Ruben. How are you?
I'm fantastic, and this is an honor because your filmography has shaped a lot of my knowledge in films, and it's a privilege. How are you?
Thank you. I'm well.
While I was watching your movie, I noticed that it was a little difficult to shoot some scenes when you go underwater and like alternate without losing the narrative.
Yeah.
How do you do that? How do you work with your crew to create that the narrative goes well below and above the water?
Well, first of all, our cinematographer, a Thai cinematographer, Sayampu Mukti Pram, who's a world-class cinematographer, but he's very skilled. And there was a lot of experimentation in terms of getting the right light balance so you could just see enough to understand how murky it was and how challenging it was. But we could also recognize our actors. So that was a huge challenge. The second thing was that the actors themselves insisted on doing all the diving. Right. And once that happened, it made so much possible because we could be in an interesting shot and then they would come up their face and you'd see it's Viggo Mortensen, you know, it's Colin Farrell, it's Joel Edgerton, or the Thai divers, you know, and that I thought really made a huge difference. But it was a kind of a sacrifice on their part because it was very physically demanding and challenging.
Something that I also like is that you respect the point of view of them as a country and you as a narrator from outside telling a story that is from, like, you know, it's like it's their story.
That's right.
How do you manage with a script and be respectful with their point of view and your point of view as a narrator?
Well, thank you. First of all, I went into it as an observer. I wasn't trying to express anything of myself other than fascination and appreciation and respect for what was achieved. Secondly, I got not only the actors, not only our Sayampu, our cinematographer, but also a couple of Thai co-producers who are filmmakers themselves. And they were on the set with me every day, but they also started months in advance in preparation, working with me on the screenplay to make sure that the translations turned into good dialogue, contemporary dialogue, and then working with our Thai actors, whether they were very experienced or newcomers, to improvise, to bring their culture into it, their spirituality, to understand it. And so they began to understand and believe that I needed to trust them, and I needed them to be colleagues and collaborators in addition to being actors. And I was very proud of the outcome and very satisfied, thrilled really by the reaction from critics and so forth in Thailand.
Yeah, and I even can tell it because the name is 13 Lives. It's not 13 kids. So like it's very important for them how to respect a life. And that's what I love about the movie. Well, thank you so much for your time. Like I said, it's a pleasure and an honor.
Thank you so much. Thanks for your time.
Bye.
I like your poster back there. That's cool. Really cool.
It's a classic one.
Yes, really good.
Tuve la oportunidad de ver recientemente dos películas que aún no se estrenan y que también les voy a mostrar el tráiler. Una de ellas es Pinocchio, que tuve la oportunidad de conversar con su director Guillermo del Toro, y la otra es Avatar, The Way of Water, que se estrenan próximamente. Avatar se estrena el 16 de diciembre y Pinocho se estrena creo que en 2 semanas por ahí, más cerca de Navidad que otras cosas. Pero son películas que son dirigidas al público con estilos muy diferentes. Avatar es impresionante. Tienen que verla en el cine. Si pueden verla en 3D mejor. Pero mientras más grande la pantalla mejor. Pinocho también, pero Pinocho es una experiencia porque es una animación stop motion. Más adelante les voy a mostrar conversaciones que tuve con el director Guillermo del Toro. Pero aquí les dejo con el tráiler de las dos películas que ya conversamos, de Avatar y Pinocho, porque estas dos últimas tuve la oportunidad de verlas hace poco y Avatar es para toda la familia y es una experiencia. Mientras que Pinocho, aunque también es para toda la familia, es más emocional y va más a los sentimientos y a las emociones. Y eso, que creo que van a llorar mucho viendo Avatar. Aquí les dejo con estos trailers y hasta la semana que viene.